Welcome to Scene Change, a podcast by the National Federation of the Blind Performing Arts Division. All about equality, opportunity, accessibility, and the arts. Here, you'll learn adaptive techniques from performers in the know. We are changing what it means to be blind, one stage at a time. Thank you for joining us today.
Welcome to this month's episode of Scene Change. I am filling in as host today. This is Katelyn MacIntyre, president of the National Federation of the Blind Performing Arts Division. And today we have someone here who I have known my whole life. Literally, I have known my whole life. Today, I get the privilege of interviewing my fantastic brother, Scott MacIntyre, on the show. Scott, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Katelyn. This is really fun. I don't think we've had the opportunity to do an interview together and for you to interview me. This is awesome.
I know. Thank you for being here. This is excellent. And for those who may recognize Scott's name, but are trying to figure out where they have heard it before, the world got to know Scott MacIntyre as the first blind finalist on American Idol. But many may not know that Scott also started a nonprofit program called SongSight. The SongSight Music Mentoring Retreat for the blind empowers blind musicians to discover their potential, connect with industry mentors, and become musical agents of positive change for the world. So we're going to start this episode off with part of a song that Scott produced with past SongSight attendees. This is Let the Light In.
Let the light in. I felt the rhythm of my heart pounding in my chest. I knew I was alive and that my life's not over yet.
The twists of fate, the hurt, the hate all showed me how to stretch. Oh, let the light in. You don't have to see it to know that it's real. Just reach out and touch with your heart. There's so much to live for, there's so much to feel. Oh, let the light in.
Now don't you fear the darkness, it's brighter than it seems. Sometimes you have to close your eyes so you can really see. 'Cause who you are today is never who you're gonna be. Let the light in.
You don't have to see it to know that it's real. Just reach out and touch with your heart. There's so much to live for, there's so much to feel. Whoa. Let the light in.
That was fantastic. What a great performance. So, so many people got to know you as a finalist on American Idol. So let's just start there. What was that like to be in front of so many people performing and just living that dream? What was that like?
It was exciting, and it's fun to recount that because I know you were there for some of that
Yes.
and experiencing that. And by the way, I just have to say before we go any further, I love that you're serving in the NFB, and just congrats on serving as president. You guys have we have a great leader in you. So this is certainly a pleasure to be with you. It was really interesting, Caitlin. I feel like one day, you're just kind of thinking about making music on that larger scale, and then the next, and no one really knows your name, it's not many people, and then the next day people are honking at you as you walk across the crosswalk.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a change, but what excited me was it started a lot of conversations about blindness awareness and disability awareness, and it was kind of interesting to see how people around the world engaged with that.
Right. Right. Yeah. And, just to back up even a little bit, because some people may not know that you have been a musician essentially your entire life. So how did you get started in music? Kind of give us the Cliff Notes version. There's so much people can read in your book, By Faith, Not by Sight, and all the music you've put out over the years. But how did you get involved with music, and what gave you that passion for music to begin with?
Yeah, it was quite a journey. Mom and dad would put me to bed with cassette tapes to listen to of Disney music or church music, different things. Phantom of the Opera was some of the first stuff I ever listened to, and instead of falling asleep, apparently I would get out of bed and make my way to our old upright piano and try to figure out the melodies. So it's kind of weird for me because I can't remember a time when I didn't have music as a part of my life. So it's always been a part of me, and I think that's true, in a sense for all of us in a way, just because it was in the house, for you and for
Right.
our wonderful brother Todd.
Yes.
It was always a part of me. So I poured myself into music. I couldn't play baseball. I couldn't drive a car, at least not as far as anyone knows. But I could do music. And so I learned very early on to make that choice, to not focus on the things I can't do, but to focus on the things I can do and just work at that and start there.
I love that. That is definitely, a positive blindness philosophy. And I didn't get fully involved with the National Federation of the Blind until later when I was a scholarship finalist. But I realized that mom and dad raised us with a really positive blindness philosophy, in the sense that exactly what you said, focusing on the things that you can do and your strengths, and figuring out ways to, maybe use some alternative techniques to do other things, but really keeping that outlook of reaching your
right.
goals.
And before you believe in yourself, someone else has to believe in you, and so they did that, and
Absolutely.
that's what we're trying to do with SongSight, which I know we'll get to later as well.
Yeah.
But you need to. It really just changes everything when someone believes in you, and so that was something they did for sure.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. And so, I love how open you've been talking about your blindness through the years. And touching on American Idol a little more for a minute here, how did people respond to you being blind on the show?
It was all really good. I think my favorite moment of American Idol, and you were there, you'll remember this. We're in the the little lobby after I sung for the judges, and Todd and I come out, and Ryan Seacrest, the host of American Idol, says, "Well, congratulations, Scott. We will see you in Hollywood." And his hand goes up into the air for a high five. But it doesn't come down right away. It just kind of lingers there because I don't move,
Yeah.
And then he realizes what's happening, and he says, "Well, I'm giving you a high five." And so we did the high five, and it was all okay. But the very next day, it was in every magazine, and I remember walking through the aisles, and there's a picture of the high five, and there's a picture of the high five. It was like the high five heard around the world. But it was a fun way to start the show, and the producers, to their credit, gave me every opportunity to rise to the occasion and to try new things, and to do the dances on the show and all that. And back to what we were just talking about, having been given chances growing up to try things, to fail, to get up, to try again and succeed. That's why I auditioned for American Idol, because you think about um, a blind person going on a reality TV show, but not just any reality TV show, a TV show where they're supposed to get people to vote for them,
Right.
and not being able to look the camera in the lens is kind of I thought it might be an obstacle. So that was interesting, but they definitely gave me that open door, and I had fortunately built up the confidence to walk through it.
That was fantastic. And I just have to ask you that we do have off and on members who want to audition for American Idol or America's Got Talent. So what advice would you give to someone auditioning for one of these reality shows?
That's a good question. I would say, man, that takes me back to when we were like talking about songs and,
Yes, yes.
I think have fun, because you have to. One thing that I learned going through American Idol is that, and I'm just kind of talking about other singers that I noticed. I wished I would have known this at the time, but as I look back, I don't think people really care as much about, is he perfectly on pitch, or is he technically, a good singer? But what you do have to have is emotion, and emotion will override, or it will cover up any, maybe not any, but many, many imperfections in a vocal. And I've noticed that time and time again, where people that sing with emotion, they connect with people, and it doesn't matter if it's not a perfect performance, because it's a believable performance. So sing something that you have fun singing, and something that you can, maybe relax a little bit with.
Great, great advice. Absolutely. Yeah, well, as we mentioned earlier, you and your wife, my sister-in-law, Christina, recently started the SongSight, a mentoring retreat that immerses blind and low vision participants in the world of music. So what inspired you to start this program? You've mentioned it a little bit, but tell us more about the creation of SongSight.
Yeah, it really came out of a place of first kind of seeing what my presence on American Idol, and then after that, traveling different parts of the world, sharing my story and music, seeing how people respond to that and how much hope it brings them, whether they're disabled or not. Um, I noticed that I have a unique opportunity to speak into people's hearts, and it's part of it has to do with some things people think a lot about today, and that's just diversity, and how we all come from a different place, not just racially and culturally, but so many different ways. And when I'm talking to you, and I'm sure it's similar for you, Katelyn, when we're talking to people, or singing for people, we're not seeing their skin color, we're not seeing what they're wearing. I have no idea uh, about these outward signals that some people you just can't avoid if you have sight, and that's not a bad thing. But it kind of gives me an advantage to get past all that and to speak into people's hearts. And I've noticed that students across the country, even students overseas in schools, in the next generation, and older folks too, but they listen in a different way. They'll stand up in front of their peers and ask me questions, pretty vulnerable questions about, Scott, have you ever lost hope? Have you ever been bullied because you're blind? And they're asking this in front of their peers, in a very kind of, in a confident way. They're being courageous. And I think it's because they know that I see them differently. And so I noticed that there's a lot of, I noticed, first of all, that there's a lot of love of music in the blind community, because, we don't have, if we're visually impaired or blind, we don't have full sight. It kind of naturally follows sometimes that music is appealing. And so SongSight is really about connecting over our shared disability and our shared love of music to encourage each other toward that end, to realize that, you do have a bigger megaphone than you might think. Because number one, people listen to you when you're suffering, when you're going through something hard. If you have the right attitude, it's going to be very captivating. People are going to be like, wow, he's blind, but listen to what he's saying. Look at what he's doing. He doesn't seem depressed, and we all will deal with, wrestling with some of the challenges. But if you can, offer hope from that place of weakness, it actually can change lives. I've seen it again and again. So when people come to SongSight, and we're doing the next retreat in the spring of 2025, applications are open right now, by the way. I can talk a little more about that in a minute, but it's community. You meet a group of people that are like-minded in their love of music and in their struggles as well. Um, we get very creative. We try to immerse each other in new areas of music, experiment with new instruments, kind of get out of our comfort zone together, but we're doing it together, and then also just building confidence and helping you find your voice and find, how can I, from my unique story and my unique background, be a world changer? Because music is powerful, as you know, Katelyn. And when we sing, when someone who's visually impaired or blind plays a song or sings a song, I believe it has a special power in the world right now.
Yeah, it's true. Whether we always like it or not, often we end up with a platform that may be kind of unique, and so that is really, a powerful testimony to that. That sometimes, even without us being aware of it, we can have a really powerful platform to share hope with other people. That is great, and you have some really powerful words from past attendees on the website, songsightretreat.com, which we can talk more about too. But tell us even more about how this program helps blind musicians specifically.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, it's been really cool to witness the impact it's had on a personal level with some of the attendees, and um, just hearing stories that people have opened up for the first time. I remember one attendee shared with me it was the first time she had ever felt like she could open up emotionally to a group of people, and she found a family at SongSight that she didn't have in maybe another way, or maybe it was a different family, a musical family. So there's community, there's connection, there is a lot of musical skill development, but overarching is this idea that we want to be musicians on a mission. Whether it's in your backyard or your community, or whether you do end up on American Idol or one of these shows, it really doesn't matter. The point is that I believe you have a song to share through your instrument, through your voice. And so SongSight is about helping you lean into that and discover that and cultivate that. There's also some practical things, sometimes it's just a different journey for someone who's blind or visually impaired to get their foot in the door when it comes to, finding a producer, or just having some of these conversations with music industry veterans. And so we bring in some really cool people each time, producers from Nashville, different instrument coaches and vocal coaches. I'm there, obviously. We'll be having other celebrity mentors, each year as we do this. And it's really to immerse you in that environment where we're all dealing with the same or similar challenges, but we all love music, and we're bringing in people that can help you take that next step. Sometimes it's finding out about, music technology and accessibility. So we want to just kind of bridge some of those gaps and help you find your voice and realize more of your potential.
Absolutely. And who should apply? Is this for, only serious musicians or hobbyists, or I'm assuming that anyone can apply, but who should apply to this?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's really for musicians of all skill levels, and that's a question I got a lot, as as I've shared this and as I've seen it grow a little bit over the past couple years, and we're grateful now to have some support from people like the Virginia Piper Trust and the Diamondbacks are supporting SongSight now, the Arizona Diamondbacks. So um, it's cool to see people catching the vision, but I realized that we're all on this journey together, and this is really it's a big intersection point, but it's not necessary that we're all at the same level because we learn from each other. Some learn things from those that are farther along, but there's also something magical about taking that first step. If you've been playing an instrument for a few years, or you've been singing, or you like to write poetry or songs and you've just kind of dabbled in it, this isn't just about trying to have a career in music, because I think that's a different discussion for another day. But um, that there's a lot of ifs and unknowns there. But there's actually a lot of ways you can use your musical talent, even monetizing it without needing a record deal, needing this or that. And people are really hungry for true hope right now. And so whether you do this professionally, or whether you do it in your community as a hobby, or just trying to make a difference like I am in the world right now, there's a place for you there. We had one of our attendees, was definitely more of a lay vocalist, and then others had released albums, and so there was a whole spectrum. But I think, Katelyn, that element of community and sitting around the fire pit at night, sharing songs with one another, talking with industry mentors about their experience, just in those very casual settings, was really central to this. So we write songs, we do instrument focus, we do experimentation with instruments. One of the cool, we also go to the MIM. I know you're familiar with the
Oh,
Musical Instrument
yes.
Museum,
One of my
which
favorites.
is an amazing place, and we do some special stuff there for SongSight. But the highlight was recording that song we heard at the beginning, "Let the Light In," because we really got to weave all of our stories together and just create a song that I think a lot of us walked away from saying, that's me, that's my story, from darkness to light, from lost to found, letting the light in, taking that first step, in some cases toward healing. This can be a difficult journey with a visual impairment sometimes, but music is very healing.
Yeah, that just reminds me too of in our division, I always say that we welcome everyone from professionals to hobbyists, and we really do. We have all types of performers, some who are doing this professionally to make money, put out albums, or dance professionally, or whatever it is, and others who are just singing in their church choir or singing in their shower or whatever it is. So I love that,
Yeah.
that you totally learn from others, and certainly even when I've taught students and things like that, I end up learning things as well. So absolutely a great perspective. And so if someone's listening to this and they are musically inclined, whatever that looks like, how can they find out more about SongSight?
You can go to songsightretreat.com, and songsightretreat.com/apply takes you right there, but you can click on the apply button. And I should probably mention, Katelyn, too, it's SIGHT, like sight. So it's
Yes.
songsightretreat.com. And you can learn more about the program. You can listen to Let the Light In again. You can also hear more of what attendees have said. And I got to shout out to the group that did Let the Light In with me, Tony and Tyler and
Yeah.
Greg Colleen, Mariana, Sarah, and Lizzie. You guys are awesome. I'm so proud of you for going through the program so far, and I'm excited, just Katelyn, as the years go on, and we're doing this in the spring, as I was saying. So that's the application right now that's open for April 2025. We're building an alumni community with SongSight, of just a big group of musicians on a mission. And so every time people go through that music mentoring retreat, it's really cool that community is going to grow, and we've got some amazing plans for next year, doing some alumni events, some outreach concerts where we'll be able to put some of these attendees on a stage with someone of pretty big notoriety. And the goal has always been, obviously I'll be there too, but I'm excited that other known musicians are getting involved and showing interest in doing this. So we want to continue to grow that community. And if you'd like to be a part of that community, we would love to have you. There's a committee that reviews all the applications. They're open right now, and people are applying. So it's the perfect time to go to songsightretreat.com and apply. There are only 15 slots available because this is not, it's not a conference. And a lot of people, ask that or think that, but it's a really intentional music mentoring retreat where we want to spend quality time. We do it in Scottsdale, Arizona, and in a space where there's room to do breakout sessions, room to do sessions together. It's in a home out here. You don't sleep at the home. We put you up in a hotel, but it's at a home out here that one of my friends just bought for purposes like this. And so there's no one sleeping at the home, but it's this big Scottsdale home with all this room to spread out, outside, inside, and it's been the perfect space for this, just because I thought maybe a hotel ballroom is a little bit sterile, that could work, but this was really it just made it more inviting. So check it out and apply. You can tell us about your music, your journey, and it would be an honor also, guys, just if you're listening, I'd love to I'm always happy to be a resource. So you can reach out there as well if you have questions, or even questions about the music industry, whether or not you apply for SongSight, but happy to help in that way.
Thank you. And, I want to say too, if some people may listen to this further down the road, but I know that, you're not going to end here. So even if it's not 2025 any longer, before April 2025, definitely still check in with what SongSight is doing. And too, you said, so only 15 spots. So hopefully everyone will go out and apply, and many of those listening to this podcast will be there in April. But if someone doesn't make it into SongSight this year, can you give us some, maybe some songwriting advice to help them along their journey in that direction?
Songwriting advice. Yes. That is a fun question. I think, I don't know if I've shared this with you, Katelyn. Maybe I have. This is some great advice that I got from, I think he's somehow related to Carrie Underwood and that team, but it's a publisher guy out in Nashville that I think represents a lot of the songs that she's sung. But I played some of my songs for him years ago, and he said, I like this one that you played for me because it doesn't just tell us what happened, but it tells us why it happened. And that was interesting to me. I always I've shared that with a few people over the years, just because no one had ever said that before, and it made me start listening to songs that way, and songs that go a little bit beyond what happened and get into why it happened. They tend to be a little bit deeper. So that'd be my first piece of advice. And then secondly, I would just, for me, writing a song is like it's like writing a paper in school. You got to figure out your thesis, and that could be the hook line or the thing that comes to you in the shower or in the middle of the night.
Right, right.
But then you got to kind of force yourself to sit down. And if you have a couple verses, you want to figure out, okay, I know what the song's about. Now, how do I say something that is universally understood and yet said in a way that's never been said before? That's the tricky balance, I think, when it comes to lyric writing.
Yeah, ooh. Easier said than done. That is really good to ponder though. That's
Yeah, and
Thank
it just and you just write a bunch of, drafts and scribbles and,
right.
just also just get,
Just
get your
practice.
thoughts out
Practice
because
writing.
sometimes when they
Yeah.
come out, it's easier to review them and see, oh, there's something there. Maybe I can chase that direction. But it's not uncommon that, when I was writing a lot of songs a number of years ago, I'd have alternate verses that I didn't end up using and, half verses that I discarded. And you kind of have to chase a bunch of directions and a lot of them don't work out, but maybe one does.
Great advice, encouragement, and so looking to the future, what are your plans and your dreams for the SongSight organization?
Great question. I really am excited to watch the community of SongSight alumni grow because the SongSight Music Mentoring Retreat for the Blind is it's really the gateway to this community that we're building of musical world changers, of musical community changers, of musicians on a mission of hope, and the world really needs that right now. And so my hope is that I can if you're listening and you are musically inclined, my heart is to help give you a voice in that cultural conversation today because I think you have a lot to share. I know that your story is unique and powerful. And I know that people listen when we approach them in the right way, and especially when we approach them through song and through music. So I would love to help you explore that. And there's a bunch of people excited to explore it right alongside you and right along the other alumni. So we're building this community together, and I hope that in 5 years we look back and there are even more and more people who have gone through SongSight and who are out there finding ways to use music to make a positive impact right where they are. And we're doing it together.
Well, and I just have to mention, I've mentioned this a little bit before, but for those who don't know, Scott's an amazing singer, songwriter, pianist, motivational speaker, author, so many things. And so we can't leave today without asking you, what else have you been up to and working on personally in these other areas? Have to
Well,
know.
I have been traveling quite a bit. I was in Croatia a number of months ago. We just did a big trip through the Northeast I was telling you about, through New York and Ontario. Got to go back to our old stomping grounds in the Oakville area. But it's been really fun. I just got back from Nashville a couple days ago. And so doing a lot of singing, a lot of traveling. I'm also putting out a lot of music these days on Spotify and wherever you listen to music, Apple, Amazon, all that. So I had a song recently come out called "Bigger Than," and there's actually a couple of remixes that we've done of it now. And Tyler Seidenberg, who may never hear this podcast, but we grew up together. He's an incredible musician in his own right. But he helped with both the remixes actually, so it's been fun to work on that.
Yeah, definitely check out Scott's music wherever you listen. It has so many, you've done so many different genres even over the years, and just I think you'll find something you can enjoy by checking it out. So let us know as we're about to end here. And you know what? We are actually going to listen to Bigger Than as we close out in a moment, that you released earlier this year. But can you give us how can people stay in touch with you personally? Give us the SongSight Retreat info again, but also your personal socials and anywhere people can find you. How can people reach out and stay in touch?
Thanks, Katelyn. Yeah, well, first I'll say you can always reach out to me at Scott MacIntyre at startmail.com. That's probably the best way. ScottMacIntyre at startmail, StartMail.com. And I probably won't post that one in text form, but if you're listening,
Yes.
Scott MacIntyre at startmail.com. You can get right to me that way, or you can go to my website, scottmacintyre.com as well. But yeah, I meant what I said. I'm happy to be a resource, happy to, to be in touch that way. You can also email info at songsightretreat.com. That's info at songsightretreat.com, and we will help answer your questions there. And we mentioned the website. It's SONGSIGHT retreat, RETREAT.com. And you can find out a whole bunch more about the SongSight program there. Applications are open, as I said, for the spring, and we're happy to accept applications from musicians of any skill level. So if you, as one of the attendees, I think it was Tony, as Tony said, if you're feeling like you might want to do it, give it a try.
Yeah, absolutely. I love
Because
that.
it's amazing.
And I have to say, I maybe you said this, but is there a deadline to apply, or is it just when those 15 spots fill up, then you'll close it?
It is when those 15 spots are filled. Yep. So the committee is reviewing each one that comes in, and
Great.
You still have time. But
Great.
there have been applications coming in. That's a good question.
Yeah, so don't delay. You have time, but check it out. And I don't think the application takes too long, so it can be your weekend project to to get that up. That is so wonderful, Scott. Thank you for sharing all this info with us and being a resource. And let's close it out by listening to Bigger Than. And this has been another episode.
Thanks, Katelyn. It's been awesome being here with you.
This has been another episode of Scene Change.
My heart is bigger than, my plan is bigger than, my love is bigger than. I see you aimlessly out there searching. I know you're wondering, is this worth it? You've seen so many roads come to an end. And every time that your dreams are shattered, you get to feeling like nothing matters. But I've been calling your name to lead you home. Step into the light, 'cause there's more to life. Hear my voice, heed my call. Your greatest fears, I know them all. Take my hand, you're not alone. My love is bigger than you ever know. My heart is bigger than, my plan is bigger than, my love is bigger than. I knew your name when I formed the heavens. I felt your pain long before this moment. And there's a future that's waiting for you. And I am the way. So step into the light, and I will give you life. Hear my voice, heed my call. Your greatest fears, I know them all. Take my hand, you're not alone. My love is bigger than you ever know. My heart is bigger than, my plan is bigger than, my love is bigger than you ever know. My heart is bigger than, my plan is bigger than, my love is bigger than. You can rescue me for eternity. I will never let you go. I prepared a place. This is just a taste of the promise that's in store. So step into the light. Welcome to new life. Hear my overcome your greatest fears. I know them all. Take my hand, you're not alone. My love is bigger than you ever know. My love is bigger than, my plan is bigger than, my love is bigger than you ever know. My love is bigger than, my plan is bigger than, my love is bigger than you ever know. My love is bigger than, my plan is bigger than, my love is bigger than you ever know. My love is bigger than, my plan is bigger than, my love is bigger than you've ever known.
I'm Katelyn MacIntyre, President of the National Federation of the Blind Performing Arts Division. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Scene Change. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and visit our website at nfb-pad.org. There you'll find links to our social media, membership, and resources for blind performers. Thanks to everyone who makes this show happen. Scene Change is produced by Shane Lowe, Joe Schuneman, Precious Perez, Chris Nussbaum, Seun Choi, and Aaron Jordan, with music by Ryan Strunk and Tom Page. Remember, you can be the performer you want. Blindness is not what holds you back. We'll see you next time.